Hi, a film I watched last night was 22 July, the 2018 film written and directed by Paul Greengrass, chronicling the events and aftermath of the 2011 Norwegian terror attack, when a terrorist parked a van full of explosives outside the office of the Prime Minister, which detonated and caused numerous deaths and many injuries, then travelled to an island outside the city of Oslo, where a political gathering was taking place of young party members, and proceeded to shoot many of them, 69 people dead, hundreds injured. He was caught by the police, arrested, and imprisoned, and the film chronicles the events of the attack, its aftermath, and the court case leading to the man's conviction. Um, it's a very impressive piece of work. It goes along, I think, with United 93 in portraying an event that should be almost impossible to dramatize because of the sensitivity of it, and yet threading that needle and finding a way to tell this story in a way that is both respectful to the victims and the survivors, and also engaging dramatically for the audience. The focus is on particularly on in two areas, namely the terrorist himself and the defense that his lawyer is forced to conduct and appointed by the court. He has no choice but to try and figure out how he can defend what this man did. Ultimately, attempting to do so, finds that his claims of there being a coming race war, that he is a soldier of a secret sect, and that further attacks are imminent, all of this is total fantasy. That the man was a nothing who dreamed up this delusion and believed it so that he could have some impact on the world because he was so frightened and so cowardly that he was incapable of doing anything else. But the other focus is on a family of survivors, two brothers, one of whom survived uninjured, the other of whom was very severely wounded in a coma, and when he wakes up, faces the prospect of severe brain injury and physical challenges, which he struggles with, and it is heavily implied in one scene, almost gives up on. But it's a really superb film. I thought that, and I apologise for mispronouncing, Jonas Strand Gravli as the struggling young man, I thought was really superb. I think one of the best performances of 2018. I thought that Greengrass's script was excellent. A really intelligent study of how to chronicle an event like this, the events, their impact, their aftermath, and in particular demonstrating how small the perpetrator was. That he, as I say, he is a nothing who was so consumed by his own ego that he develops this paranoid delusion of race war to try and justify his own alienation. But it's a very impressive film. I think the fact that it effectively was swallowed by the algorithm, it was picked up by Netflix. I believe they promoted it very briefly, but it's had no impact long term. It was forgotten or ignored by awards at the time. I think that's a great shame because it's a really very fine piece of work, one of the best films of the year. Hard going in many places, as you might expect, but nevertheless, I'd recommend it very highly indeed.